Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 21 of the F123 Lancia Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Brazilian Grand Prix, our final sprint race of the season, our first sprint race of 2024. Of course, if you missed out the video that went live from Mexico a couple of days back, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. But yeah, heading into Interlagos this weekend, unfortunately, we are having to serve some grid penalties. So obviously we had that ICE failure last weekend. You can see we've had quite a few failures over the course of the season. So what I've done, I've gone and put an entire fresh engine in the back of the car ready for this weekend. It should mean we've got components throughout these final three Grand Prix of the season. But luckily, of course, penalties still apply to the main Grand Prix, not the sprint race. So there might be a chance to score points in the sprint today, but we're going to be starting from the back for the main GP. All focus still is going on to next season's car. We're getting kind of set up, ready to go, and there will, like I said, be a driver vote poll for who you want to see be our teammate ready for Season 2 coming in the next couple of days. Get yourself subscribed if you're new around here, and let's get into it then here in Brazil. Well, heading then into qualifying here from Interlagos, and safe to say the heavens have well and truly opened then. Going to be a very, very slippery Friday night qualifying, and the sprint race on Saturday as well is meant to be very much the same. So how is our wet weather pace going to fare? I have compromised the setup slightly to suit the wet conditions, just because, you know, if Sunday, I'm not going to say it's a write-off necessarily, but depending on what our pace is like in Friday and Saturday might define, you know, how much confidence we can take into Saturday's race there. I've filled up the car with a little bit of fuel. I feel like this is going to be one of those sessions where we've just got to get laps on the board. Well, first lap, as we said, a bit of a banker then to sort of see what the track conditions are going to be like. Luckily, really not using much battery around this lap, and well, we go quicker than Oscar Piastri then. It's not a bad first run. Of course, where it is a sprint weekend, we are only doing the one qualifying session. So wherever we end up here in what is effectively Q1, that'll be where we start the sprint. Well, as always seems to be the case in this Lancia car, making up all the time through the middle sector. We just seem to have just a very, very good downforce package on this car, but 4/10 up then as we make our way towards the line. And there we go. Oh, we go second now. I think a lot is going to change though before the end of this session, but will we potentially see a switch to inters? Oh no, just ran slightly wide at the bottom of the hill. That's this lap as a write-off then. I think we've only really got one more chance on this first set. Oh, big drift out of Young Sao. A little bit of a wobble. Come on, try and put the power down. We're going to be losing time all the way back round to the start-finish line, but this might be good enough to put us up then into provisional pole position here. Perez on a 120.4. We will do a 120.3. And our plucky little Lancia car is back at the top of the timings. Well, 3 minutes left then on the clock, and now you can see on the HUD, myself and Max Verstappen, we've gambled it. We've gone out on the set of the intermediate tyres. Will anyone join us here? I've tried to go out a little bit early to allow myself 2, maybe even 3 laps here at the end of the session, but there is still a lot that will change before the end of qualifying, and we might deal with some traffic as well then. Want to avoid any errors, because we've kept it so tight on time that any kind of mistake is going to avoid us getting that third lap on the board. But come on, you can already see out the centre S another 10th up. I think this is going to be a mad dash towards the finish, where the last car on a lap might end up with a huge advantage. I'm not sure if these intermediates are going to hang on as well as the full wets did for repeated qualifying laps here, as Logan Sargent just getting in the way as we make our way down the hill. But yeah, this was absolutely the right choice. Everyone has joined me on it, so they must have been looking at our times and thinking, yep, we need to go the same direction. 1.2 seconds up as we make our way out of the final corner, but now things are going to get very, very hectic here. A 119 flat, that's going to give us a huge boost at the top of the timings, but surely others are going to beat, if not match it. Well, track conditions are definitely still moving around then, as towards the end of my second lap on these inters. Another half a second up But is the extra lap giving us more confidence over the AI? Is it allowing us to work out where more of the grip is and just how much speed we can carry out of the corners? It's going to be one of the Alpha Towers that is going to set the benchmark. And Tsunoda, look at that, immediately P2. Verstappen, though, even quicker than me. But we will take that pole back instantly. Final chance, then. Here in qualifying, there's going to be a couple of drivers behind me that are going to be able to go for it as well. And you can see the rain is basically coming to a stop then. Everyone is desperate to try and improve here at the end. I think it might be the Williams or the Alfa Romeo that is going to be the last car back round to the line there. Bit of a lock-up as we make our way down the hill. But we know we've still got Max Verstappen pushing on in front. But we're another 10th up there. Perez goes up into P3. Norris now going to join me on the front row. But surely Verstappen and I are still going to be improving here as we make our way through this tight technical middle sector one final time. I don't think I've ever done this many laps in a single qualifying session. But boy, oh boy, has it been worth it here in Brazil. We've seen so many iconic and surprise pole laps around this venue. Magnussen in the Haas a couple of years ago. Rosberg back in his Williams all the way back in 2010. But will Lancia be able to join him on that list here? We've already had a pole position this year, don't forget. Back in Singapore, at the final corner, there was 2/10 up and Verstappen's bailed out. Clearly stuck behind Tsunoda up towards the line. It is going to be pole position here in Brazil.
Fantastic, you've got pole position.
Well, there we are then. It is myself on pole position there ahead of Lando Norris with sights on both Red Bulls making up our top 5. But we have got a golden opportunity to score some points then in the sprint race. Of course, Aaron Barnes was the only driver that didn't go out on a set of intermediates right at the end of the session. But pole for the sprint, we're guaranteed, I think, to be starting last for the main event. Let's just try and score some points.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Firestarter lines up on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Verstappen, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Ricciardo, Russell, Bottas, Tsunoda, Albon, Magnussen, Joe, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Ocon, Sargent, and the reserve driver rounds off the grid.
Well, here we are then, trackside ready for the Brazilian GP sprint race, and oh my. What is that weather? It's meant to be dry to intermediates, to full wet, and back to intermediates again, all in the space of 12 laps. This might be the dumbest strategy choice. I can't even start on the intermediates, apparently. Why wouldn't it even let me start on the inters? Oh no. Well, we are in even bigger trouble then, because that was going to be my plan of attack. Start on the inters and kind of go from there. But I guess we can't take too big of a risk then here in Sao Paulo. But I think we're going to see pit stops today. You don't often see them in a sprint, but that is surely going to be the case. Right, let's do this thing then. Brazilian Grand Prix sprint race time. 5 red lights. Oh, I almost let go of the gear too early then. Almost jumped the start as we make our way down in towards turn 1. Lando Norris down the inside. Surely wants to try and snatch that lead away from me at the start, but we'll go around the outside through turn 1, and we will hang on to it then. Verstappen already back up into P3 there as we make our way out of the Senna S, but surely the straight line speed of the AI here is going to be unmatchable. Lando Norris, oh, he's run wide. He's hit me wide down at the bottom of the hill there. Maybe trying to employ the Verstappen tactic, and he'll swoop through. So will the Dutchman as we make our way back up the hill then. But Lando Norris, an aggressive move at the start of the Grand Prix. Verstappen as well, barging me out there. So we are getting bullied by the AI At the start of this Grand Prix, we got yellow flags out a little bit further back. I think that was just for the Constantina and up. But big drama once again on the opening lap of a GP there. Lando Norris just fired it in down the hill. We're going to have a big wobble and a warning to make our way through the final couple of corners. Come on, hang on to it. Clearly have overcut the tyres at the start there, and now Sainz will get around the outside, as well as Oscar Piastri. So the nightmare start to this GP. Can we come back at the Spaniard to make our way back up towards turn 1? We're going to be 3 wide by the time we make it in towards turn 1. I'm going to return the favour. The AI getting the elbows out, so will I. Back through turn 1, back into P3 we'll go. But surely now Piastri is going to try and get a run down the centre S, similar to what his teammate did just 1 lap ago. We'll force him to the outside this time round. So Oscar Piastri will try it, but no chance there, matey boy. Lando and Max, though, already with a 2.5 second lead. But, oh, there we go, the rain. The rain has already begun. So when will we see the switch? Well, in the dry conditions, we certainly don't have the pace to match Lando and Max at the front of the field. This is going to be one of those races where we've got to drive on our mirrors, as again, Oscar Piastri down the outside there. He's got DRS now, of course, as we start lap 3. But how long will that be enabled for? Again, we will defend down into turn 4. Yeah, that's basically now the sign that we're probably going to see the switch within the next 2 laps. When Mark says you're on the right tyre, you're not going to be on it for very long. Oh, yeah, this track's getting slippy. Oh, we actually got a bit of contact there, so we've had contact with both McLarens then so far in this GP, and we're only on lap 4. Oscar Piastri. It's deja vu for the young Australian, but this time round, oh, he completes the move there. I just ran into the back of him. Very lucky not to pick up any damage in that one. I'm going to do it, though. Oh, Oscar Piastri, how early do you want to break there, my friend? As Perez now will have a look up the inside at the top of the hill. I'm boxing this lap. These tyres are not feeling great anymore. They're getting too cold as well, which is another big issue. And you can see how much Piastri is struggling. So we make our way up the hill there, back down the inside of the McLaren. Don't know if he potentially got some damage. Well, Lando Norris then opts to stay out there. So does Max Verstappen in this Grand Prix. But as we make our way into the pit lane then, I think we're going to be one of the first drivers in as we just about get the car slowed down there. Oscar Piastri has come in behind me. But I think, are those dry tyres? Yes, they are. So McLaren don't feel it's ready to switch yet. But I absolutely do here. So I must have been that damage. Must have been when Oscar went into the back of me at turn 1.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
So Oscar Piastri, yep, out onto a set of the mediums. So he's going to really struggle. But I mean, look at this already. The spray being kicked up off these inters. I think we've nailed this call. And I think we've just got to absolutely go for it this lap. Oh, Oscar Piastri, yellow's out now. Is the McLaren driver struggling even more? Is he retiring? Yeah, Oscar Piastri, I think he's abandoned this sprint. I think he's realised wrong tyres, everything like that. And he's called it a day. Oh, here we go. Split strategy at the front. Max in, Lando stays out. Where have we seen Lando Norris stay out on dry tyres before? And it really come back to bite him. I can't think off the top of my head there, but quite a lot of AI actually opting to stay out. In fact, most of them feel like it's worth going another lap here. So I wonder if Verstappen was just a little bit worried about me. But we've already taken a good 3 seconds out of Aaron Barnes this lap. And surely these conditions are just going to get worse and worse there. However, looking at it, Perez also in. He's jumped me, I think. No, he hasn't. DRS now disabled. We're still going to be out ahead of Sergio Perez. But I don't think, yeah, we certainly have lost out still against the Dutchman. Or AI into the pit lane there, but there's still an alarming amount of them that are opting to stay out at this stage of the Grand Prix. Aaron Barnes into the lofty heights of P16. But I wonder if there's just some of the AI, either the teams don't want a double stack, or they just don't think it's worth it, and for whatever reason believe they can hang out to the end of the afternoon. Lando Norris is still out there at the front of the field. And look at this now, Verstappen stuck in the traffic of the cars in front. We are taking bags of time out of him, as the Dutchman just cannot find a way around them through this middle sector. This race is not over. through Jung Sao once again then. I mean, look at the grip we've got over Lance Stroll there. Down the inside we'll go. As Verstappen, it's basically taking him an entire lap to try and get round Zhou Guanyu there. Zhou's trying to pit. Oh, I only realised that at the final second, but everyone else then into the pit lane. And look at this, Max Verstappen back to the lead of the GP. Lando Norris has lost less time in this than I thought he would. But we are now all over the gearbox of the Dutchman again. And remember just how good our pace was in qualifying. This race is not over. I mean, surely with Max Verstappen sliding around the way he is at the moment, we've got to go for this. 4 laps to go of the sprint race. Probably the craziest sprint race I think I've ever had inside F123. Surely, I mean, we're putting time on Perez behind as well. Surely Max Verstappen is going to be vulnerable here in the final few laps of this race. We've got most of a charge of battery as well. Struggling with straight line speed. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that.
24.2 seconds.
Yeah, happy though that the game didn't let me start on the inters, because it definitely would not have been the right way to go. But it did start raining almost immediately here. Such a weird race, such a weird weekend so far. But this is why we love Interlagos, how quickly the conditions can change. What I don't like is running deep at turn 4. Oh, we're even closer to Max this time round as we make our way at the final turn. The Dutchman is the denier of race victories so much in this sport. Round the outside we'll go though, as we head back into turn 1. Oh, there's yellows out. Zhou Guanyu, I think, has had an issue, and this might be a red flag then in this Grand Prix. I think, no, we're too late though, aren't we? The game can't give us a red flag this late on. Hamilton's out. This would absolutely... Well, if this was 1 lap earlier, that would absolutely be a red flag. We've lost like 4 AI in an instant. I think they've all been sent to the Shadow Realm in all of that going on. But Verstappen, therefore, is not going to get a couple of free laps still to lead this thing. We have just cheated a red flag inside F123, and for me, that's probably quite a good thing, because we are so much quicker than the Dutchman right now. We can absolutely look to try and find a way around him, but time is running out. Desperate dive down the inside, Hamilton on Albon style, but the Dutchman spots me, he jumps out of the way, and we are now through and into the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Can we hang on with just 2 more laps? Max Verstappen, though, he's not done with this. To the outside goes the Dutchman. You can try it around the outside there, mate, but I'll do exactly what you did to Lewis a couple of years ago. Just force him out. Control the car. Control the pace. And I already know just how long this video is going to be, but so much has happened between qualifying and this sprint race here. It's felt like a full weekend's worth of action, and we've only ran short sessions so far. We've still got an entire Grand Prix to go after this, but Max Verstappen, he and Lando Norris worked together at the start of this race to force me out. We took a big gamble on strategy early on. I was not willing to give up on this thing in the early stages of the afternoon as we make our way around the final lap here in Interlagos. We did not give up. We kept fighting. It was a brave send on the Dutchman. I really did get worried that we'd make contact with him. But finally, as we make our way through the final couple of turns, it's not quite a Grand Prix victory, but it is going to be Lancia crossing the line to take top spots for the first time since their return to Formula 1. Rounding through the final couple of turns, the gap to the Dutchman still at home, floating at around 0.8 of a second. But as we make our way out, we are going to win here in Interlagos. Pole on Friday, race victory on Saturday. We're starting back for the main event though, but it is P1.
Well done, mate. Well done. That's a great finish. You've really stepped up and achieved what we asked you to do today, so good job.
Well, there we go then. Quite a crazy look at the results screen. I mean, look at that. Hulkenberg up in 6th. Bottas as well, scoring a couple of points for Alfa Romeo there. So that will do real good for both Haas and Alfa Romeo there. Neither Mercedes getting into the points. And 4 drivers retiring. So, yeah, Aaron Barnes might be starting from the lofty heights of P18 here. Championship-wise, though, it's going to mean we take a few points out of Lance Stroll. 5 the gap now, with just 3 races to go of the season. But yeah, Max Verstappen, though, further extends his lead at the top of the championship. Unless Perez and Russell can have a mega race tomorrow, they are going to be out of it here in Brazil. But yeah, let's get into the main event. We've got 36 more laps, but apparently it's not going to rain at all.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. Just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. 2 very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junsao into one of the 2 DRS zones will be key to any overtaking prospects today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Hülkenberg, Bottas, Gasly, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Ocon, Russell, Sargent, Tsunoda, Albon, Leclerc, Stroll, the reserve driver, Joe, Magnussen, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, and Firestarter. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Firestarter. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
It's not an ideal situation by any means. When you get into a bad run like that, there's always a risk of frustration creeping in, which can cause more mistakes and locks you into this vicious cycle. Hopefully today they can get through turn 1 cleanly and stay calm for the rest of the race.
Well, hang on a minute. We just won the sprint race yesterday. Crofty and Anthony Davidson have absolutely no chill. But yeah, as expected though, it is meant to be dry conditions throughout the entirety of this afternoon's running. So we might not get as much drama as we did in the sprint race. But this weekend has already been dramatic enough. Will it take one final twist? Can we score some points from the back? Here we go then, the 5 red lights coming on for the Brazilian Grand Prix. 3 races to go of the season. And it's going to be lights out and away we go there. Not for Magnussen though, he's going to get a really bad start. And that's going to mean Oscar Piastri has to go around him. I was going to go to the outside. But then realised Aaron Barnes was there. Maybe not ideal. He is 3 wide though, with the Leclerc and Hamilton through turn 1. And it is going to almost slam me out on the exit of turn 2 there. So Aaron Barnes lacking some confidence at the start of the Grand Prix. Maybe a slightly cheeky overtake, but I feel it was necessary on lap 1 there to avoid contact with my teammate there. Much cleaner start than we had yesterday. Lando Norris though, back to the front of the field then, so clearly after his bot strategy call yesterday afternoon, well, would love to try and get a win on the board today. Is yeah, the concertina and up on lap 1 is going to be absolutely ridiculous here. Charles Leclerc on a set of mediums though. I mean, it's Ferrari, isn't it? Of course he's on a set of mediums when everyone else around him is on the soft, so we'll make light work then of the Ferrari. Probably the only man that is going to be able to stop Max Verstappen winning the World Championship this season by the end of this weekend. Russell way down the order. Perez way down the order as well. They both need to beat the Dutchman today if they want any chance at that crown. Well, Nico Hülkenberg, I can just see on the minimap, defending for his life onto P3 at the moment from Carlos Sainz. I think Sainz has just gone clean around the outside of him. As Charles Leclerc, every lap, gets very close down at the bottom of the hill to making a move on myself. But yeah, Hulk and obviously Zhou, I believe, again, a big opportunity to score points today, but they just need to keep it clean and tidy. Well, Mercedes' pace in the tail end of this season has been really topsy-turvy. Hamilton not seemingly able to make any moves on Tsunoda. And the Brackley-based squad seemingly struggling basically as much as they did in the real-life Brazilian Grand Prix. But as we make our way back up towards Turn 1, again, we're just kind of stuck in this train at the moment. I don't think either of us want to be staring at the back of an Alpha Tauri all afternoon. As Hamilton gets a wobble, I get a wobble behind him. We both hang on to the cars as we make our way down the Esquina del Lago, though. There's plenty of battles going on up the road. It's not impossible to make overtakes here. It can just be quite a challenge in these kind of conditions. Yeah, we really cannot afford to spend all day. Admittedly, it's a very, very good-looking Mercedes car, but we cannot spend all day behind Lewis Hamilton there down the inside at the final corner. We're up another one then, up into P16 of the GP. See Hulkenberg now, yeah, is causing a rather large train this afternoon. So that might work out really nicely for us. We've got good pace in the car here. Interlagos seemingly being a track that suits this Lancia. But will it all work out in the end? Oh, and then Yuki Tsunoda should theoretically be one of the easier cars to overtake in this Grand Prix. That Alpha Tauri, not known for its straight line speed. Down the inside will go. Oh, Logan Sargent there, the Williams, having a bit of a battle further in front. And their former driver, George Russell, with the best seat in the house. No! I got onto the battery way too early. Oh, dearie me, that has been an absolute disaster. I've almost beached the car on the exit of Turn 2. And, well, we were making good moves through the field. That is all gone instantly. And now we've got to go on even bigger of a fight back. Well, just getting far too overzealous on that loud pedal one lap ago. But, yeah, it hasn't taken us long before we've caught back up to my teammate Aaron Barnes, who often seems to like to defend from me rather aggressively. Get round the outside, though, through Ferragura. Cheeky little move. But, yeah, Aaron Barnes, I think as much as you guys love him, I'm well aware, I don't think he's going to be sticking around with the team as we head into next season once more. His time in Formula 1 is that the novelty wears off quite quickly. Well, Oscar Piastri having a really torrid weekend up to this point, and he's stuck now, duking it out with Kevin Magnussen. This stage of the day, I might do him a little favour and get down the inside of the Dane at the final real corner of this lap. But I think we're, yeah, going to hopefully try and get past the McLaren as well. Using that battery once again as we make our way out of the final corner. This track just invites itself to good high-speed wheel-to-wheel racing. They don't make tracks like this much anymore. But as we make our way down through Turn 1 there, Oscar Piastri getting the elbows out. Clearly doesn't want to spend his afternoon battling what he views as backmarker cars. Oh, but we're going to get to the inside of the young Australian. I mean, you got to try and give me some room, mate. I think we both kind of turned across each other there. But a limited contact, no damage, luckily. And we are through. Well, sit rep then. We've finally closed in on Zhou Guan Yu. But yeah, these tyres are feeling very, very worn at the moment. Just trying to stretch them a couple of extra laps. The Zhou Guan Yu there really tried to force me down towards the wall. We get around the outside at 1 though and cut across at Turn 2. Return the favour. But yeah, Nico Hulkenberg update. The floodgates have opened. I don't even think he's in the points anymore. He is still slowing down a lot of cars.
1.8 seconds.
But he's kind of ruining the race for everyone else because he lets 1 or 2 cars by every lap. And that's kind of thinning out the field, spreading everyone out a bit more. I'm hoping we can get basically back to that group though before we pit. Hamilton looks like he's going for an early stop as well as Logan Sargent. And a handful of other cars into the pit lane then. I'm going to be boxing this time round. Just, yeah, didn't really want to take those mediums more than 20 laps here. But yeah, as you can see, tyre warning lights flashed up on the softs. They are cooked. Oh, yellow's out. Yellow's, that's Carlos Sainz. The Spaniard who was keeping Max Verstappen at bay. And I believe had just taken the lead because Lando Norris was pitting out of the Grand Prix then. So could this be a safety car here in Interlagos right around the time drivers are pitting? I reckon it might be because Verstappen has just taken the lead. And we'll get a nice quick pit stop out of it. Doesn't look like it yet, as Sainz there still on the side of the road.
Okay, there seems to have been a problem with the rear wheel. We need to try and put that behind us, and let's finish the race as strong as possible. Look after
Problem
these tyres
trying to
now
put the
and
tyres on.
finish the race on this compound.
But yeah, going to the end then on these mediums, but doesn't look like we're getting a safety car Crossing over half distance then, Zhou Guanyu, one of our final drivers to peel into the pit lane. So yeah, we've closed back up then to Tsunoda, but Charles Leclerc as well, absolutely been thrown under the bus by Ferrari today. Oh, here we go, they might go 3 wide as we head down the Esquito Lago. Tsunoda, oh, he goes for it! Just at the last moment there, Yuki Tsunoda makes it 3 wide with the Ferrari and the Williams, and I think Sargent has gone down the middle there and potentially hung on to it. He's going to have the inside for Ferradura. Will Tsunoda be able to hang on? No, he won't. And Charles Leclerc and all of that loses a place to a Williams and an AlphaTauri here. Ferrari having an absolute nightmare, and it might get even worse because he might lose one to a Lancia as well. To make our way through this middle sector. If he's struggling that much, I don't want to be behind him. And we will relegate Charles Leclerc into 17th place here. Remember, he's in a championship fight with Verstappen and now 19 points adrift. It is all coming up trumps for the Dutchman at the moment. So we've got to try and get a run on Tsunoda and Sargent then. As we cut to the inside of the AlphaTauri right at the last moment there. We're both gaining on the Williams, but I haven't got much in terms of battery left. We'll box Tsunoda in down at turn 1 there. And can we try and get a run then out of the Senna S on Logan Sargent as well? We're not going to be far out of the points if we can complete this move, but there's still a little way up the road. Not able to this time round, but surely you just see how much extra speed we can carry through the corners. We lose so much down the straights. They gain it all back up as hopefully we're about to prove around the outside through turn 6 again. Whoa, just about kept the wheels in between the white lines, and we're up into 15th, 14th even. No! Oh, just ran a little bit wide there. Down in the end of Sector 1, and we've run just over the white line. I am going to be removing strict track limits for Season 2 of this series. It's been a fun little trial experiment, but honestly, I just kind of find they ruin the racing and don't really add a lot. I feel like I can race clean enough, but some of the bogus incidents we get on this game are just frustrating to have to deal with. Hopefully it's not going to cost us anything, as we're almost back to the points now. Hulkenberg still hanging on to 10th. Oh, here we go. Stroll down the inside of Hulkenberg again. Looking for that P10, of course. Stroll, my big championship rival, late on in the campaign. But yeah, I don't quite understand how Russell still stuck here battling it out with the Haas and the Aston Martin, as we'll go clean around his outside. Maybe try and get around the outside of Hulkenberg as well. No, the Haas car there having none of that, slams the door. Yep, I think Mark actually quite accurate on that one. Happy with that little move. As, yeah, Russell and Leclerc, 2 drivers with an outside shot of the World Championship still. I mean, Leclerc definitely with a much better chance than our fellow Brit, but having nightmare races this afternoon. To be honest, Perez seems to be the only one that's not having an awful race, and he needed to outscore Max Verstappen here if he wanted any chance at that crown. As we go down the inside of the Haas car, surely we can complete this by turn 1, which we will. But yeah, just over 10 laps to go then of this GP. I think if we can get past Stroll, not sure how much more else we'll be able to find today. So here comes Hulkenberg back at me. Maybe a slightly late move to defend, but you got to do what you got to do. And especially when the AI are as aggressive as they are. Come on then, Sir Lance. This 1 point could end up being quite pivotal between myself and the Canadian late on this season. Whoa, he just about gives me a car width on the inside. I don't think he ever intended me to go that way. I think he was trying to force me to the outside, but that is got to be one of my bravest moves ever inside F1 23. High commitment, high stakes against my big championship rival, but we're through. Right, well, not many laps to go. They are ticking by, and we've now closed in on the AlphaTauri of Daniel Ricciardo. Apparently down the bottom of the hill has been my favourite place to make moves today. And we'll complete another one then. I'm looking at it, Bottas, and I don't know which Alpine it is, I'm going to assume Ocon, still actually battling it out quite a lot, and the AI really do cost each other a lot of time by battling here.
1.6 seconds.
We can definitely still squeeze a few points out of this, which when you consider we had a spin as well, I'm pretty happy with. Oh, come on. 5 laps to go, and we are now all over the back of Hamilton once again. Oh, that always scares me. For whatever reason, when the MFD just randomly flashes up, always scares the life out of me on this game. But yeah, he's now got the DRS on Bottas, who I think is still in the range of that second Alpine car, so it is going to be quite difficult to make moves here. We're kind of all converging on each other as round the outside of the Mercedes will go. DRS wide open, but we have not got the straight line speed. Will warrant some space down the outside there. Hamilton wanted to move over, take the race in line, but clean around the outside at turn 1 will go. And we're now up in 8th place then of this GP. It is Ocon at the front of this group, so if I can get ahead of him and build up a 3-second margin, I will be a very, very happy man, as Bottas just starting to struggle a bit more on those hard compound tyres. They should come back, though, towards the end of the race. The mediums are starting just to give up. They're not too bad yet, but I say give it another lap or two, and we are going to be sliding around all over the show. But looking at it, I think Bottas is as well. Can we get a run down the inside of the Alfa Romeo? Yes, we will. And there we go. We've just navigated Mercedes 2021 lineup in the space of half a lap. Goes out. Someone's got issues. Is that Lando or is that Oscar Piastri? Piastri's had an absolute stinker all weekend. And is he going to face a double mechanical failure here? No, it's Lando Norris from the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix with just 3 laps to go. Lando Norris is out of it, and Max Verstappen, well, his lead in the championship is about to get even bigger. He's going to take top spot here unless something catastrophic happens. And poor Lando Norris is out of the Brazilian Grand Prix with just a few laps to go. We've got to try and time the run now on Esteban Ocon. We'll get to the inside once we get into the green flag zone. Surely we can complete this move down the inside at turn 1 there, and Ocon doesn't even want to fight it at the moment. But heartbreak for Norris, jubilation and joy for Max Verstappen, and suddenly we're now up at a P5 of this race with 3 laps to go.
5.2 seconds.
Oh, Aaron Barnes. It's an odd place to let me by, but luckily I didn't quite meet the apex. Yeah, once again, our teammate having a bit of a disastrous afternoon. We were behind him 10 laps into this, and still we've lapped him. Well, on to the final lap then we go of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen, well, I think it's safe to say, he's got one hand on that championship trophy now. Charles Leclerc out of the points.
4.2 seconds.
Sergio Perez inside the points behind him, and George Russell, I believe, outside of the points still, lay on in this Grand Prix. Verstappen, I believe, is going to leave here with a 35-point lead in the championship over Charles Leclerc. So unless he basically doesn't score points in the final 2 Grand Prix, and Charles Leclerc is absolutely rapid, Max Verstappen is going to be your world champion. He wins here in Sao Paulo once again then. Fantastic job done, but really, this was Lando Norris's all day long. But round in the final few corners, we started at the back, we made our way through a few cars early on, we then span, got a penalty, and we have still been able to fight our way back to P5 today. Big points here in Brazil. That has been an absolutely beautiful weekend.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That's a spectacular victory, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sports that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. And it's another title in the bag for Red Bull after a long and hard-fought season. They've built an astonishing car this year, and the glory they'll be taking back to Milton Keynes is fully deserved. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Brazilian GP, and it is Red Bull wrapping up yet another Constructors' Championship there. But we were the highest point scorer that wasn't in a Red Bull car this weekend, so rather happy with how the race went all in all there. Fernando Alonso, P2 in the end behind the Dutchman, but yeah, luckily our penalty didn't matter come the checkered flag there. Only 3/10 in it, though, between myself and Esteban Ocon there. Perez P3, though, he's out of the championship. Russell in 11th, he's out of the championship as we look towards the final two Grand Prix. So it's a 45-point lead, isn't it, over Charles Leclerc? So Leclerc basically needs to win both Grand Prix. Verstappen is probably going to wrap this up next weekend now in Las Vegas there. We, however, have got the jump on Lance Stroll. We are now up at a 10th place and hoping to hold on to it between now and the end of the campaign there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very, very soon when Formula 1 returns in Las Vegas. You guys do not want to miss that. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself that. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourselves that.